Now go ahead.
So I want to know who hopped on board to HE Chat because they saw something on social media about the road trip or the scavenger hunt, and we're just like, I want to know more about this. Anybody, like a lot of you guys are like folks that have joined before. So I'm just wondering if anyone was like, I saw it. I know Sarah, like I had posted about it. And I know that's one of the reasons that Sarah Goki hopped on. Twitter reminded, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. So we've got some new names, new faces.
Definitely. Or maybe you saw it on the Quiet listserv. So thanks, Naomi, for putting it out there on the Quiet listserv too.
Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you, Naomi.
Yes, thanks, Naomi.
Well, thanks, Mary, for sharing it with other folks. And Amy got it, heard it. So our talking with, yep, excellent. I'll count that in as the social media, even though it's not technically social media. Quiet listserv, Carrie did. Awesome. Oh, good.
Oh,
Just
Linda,
to
great.
know, like, you know, you see like numbers that say like this post has reached so many people, but then you want to actually see the, you actually want to see that, like, hear from somebody. Did they, you know?
Oh, I think it's awesome. I think it's great. Well, this is really fun. We can't wait to tell you all about things. Well, maybe we won't tell you everything today, but we will tell you some things. Right? I feel like I'm going to be the loose lip, so I might not say much because I might just say everything.
Go for it, Mike.
Yeah, go, Mike.
I was saying, aren't you running this thing, Mike?
No, this just runs itself. It's town hall. It just runs itself.
But
You
some
just
people
wait for
might be
people
new.
to talk.
Before we jump on, before we jump on and share like what we're super excited, what Chris, Karen, Mike, and I are super excited to share. It's our folks have like, anybody still in school? Anybody still in have classes going on this week? Students going on this week?
I just jumped from regular school year to summer school with like a day in between. So
Okay, so you've
So you're-
ended the 21-22 school year, but now you've started the Chris has still got, I know like where I live in Maryland, Montgomery County, they've still, this is the last week, but I know I saw from other friends in other places in my local area, like that school was out this
yeah,
week.
I'm very sad for everybody who doesn't end to the end of June. That was our last year experience because of COVID and it was just painful. So Jennifer, I feel your pain. It was like, what happened to summer?
I know.
You guys start really early, Alyssa. I think, I bet if Jen tells us what day her kids start, I feel like that's an East Coast thing. Up here as we start.
Yeah, so
really
they start
late.
after
Yeah.
Labor Day. We start August 10th next year, this year. I don't really remember. I know we're in summer school. That's all I got for you.
Well, I feel like summer is officially here
Yeah.
because I feel like I'm starting summer school road trips, right? Like I'm packing for stuff. I have one road trip, so to speak, that I'm leaving for this afternoon to head to Alabama, where I know it's going to feel like summer. It's going to be god awful hot out there.
What are you doing in Alabama, Beth?
I am presenting along with some friends of mine. I'm presenting at the Alabama State Ed Tech Conference. I'm also going to be there as a lesson picks representative. I'm wearing two hats. I'll just take one hat off and put the other hat on at different times. So yeah, so I'm excited about that. They've got a big statewide Ed Tech conference that's going on that starts on Wednesday, and I'm excited to be there. And I know Chris and Mike are going to be joining me. And it happens to be really close to where my daughter lives. So I'm very excited because I'll get to spend some time with my daughter and her husband also. So
That's nice.
I think so.
Go ahead,
Can you hear
Chris.
me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So Mike and I are going to be there as well, right? Mike, we're going to do a boot camp. If anyone had gone to ATIA, we're going to be playing Cards Against Exclusivity. I do have a session on robots. But one of the reasons we're so excited about this Alabama conference is because it's an ed tech conference, not a special ed tech conference, right? Which it's always great to talk to those educators because you can't get to inclusion without inviting, without those general ed people.
Right. That's exciting. And it adds a little mystery to who are we going to see come to our sessions. It made me think about how to market my sessions a little bit to be more inclusive in the way that I wrote my session description. So fingers crossed that I got it right, or right-ish, I guess. That's close enough.
Yeah.
So
me
has
too.
anyone here presented at EdTech conferences, and how did you find that experience? What was it like for you? I know I presented at MassQ, and it's always great to be at that type of a conference. FETC, we presented at that. What's surprising at FETC is, even though that is the audience that we want to hear our inclusive technology message, there isn't as much interest as one would expect. So I'm wondering if other people have had different experiences.
I think it goes back to that idea, Karen, I presented a lot, especially in state. And the trick is to always break that barrier between SPED teachers coming because there's finally something on the schedule that appears like it aligns with their interest, and getting others to join the fun. And that always becomes part of the trick. And that's why I always go back to how you write it, what it looks like, what it sounds like in your description. I always half joke, but only half joke. Don't put the words assistive technology in your title.
Yeah, and yet they invited us because they are having an assistive technology track at this, but I'm just hoping people ignore the tracks and just see like, oh, that looks like a really cool session, right? And that folks will be there. So we're getting ready. So Chris and Karen and Mike and I, speaking of ed tech, before I do that, I want to see Mary put in, she's contracted with an art center. Oh, cool. So you're doing like STEAM and art for a local school district. Awesome. So I hope that's like not special ed focused and it's just tech focused.
It's all inclusive.
Yeah.
you know.
Awesome, Mary.
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's the special ed kids and the general
Love it.
population.
That's fantastic. That's the way to go.
Yep.
put that
And
down.
even that terminology, we talk a lot in inclusive learning 365, we talk a lot about the terminology. I still keep hearing people say regular ed versus general ed, or regular ed versus special ed. So is special ed non-regular ed? I think it's just, yeah, exactly, Chris. It's just ed.
And I know we have to say special education in terms of that there are students who receive special education services, but I even hate it when people say, oh, someone's in special ed. No, you're not in special ed. You're in education. You are a student. You happen to be receiving special education services, right? Like special education is not a place, it's a service. So I think that's a big thing that I'm hoping we're going to help people think about the way to make education more inclusive, that Mike and Chris and Karen and I are in just a little over a week headed out on a serious road trip.
I don't like the fact that you put the word serious in it in any way.
Well, no,
I don't imagine it's gonna be
serious meaning, like,
serious.
The magnitude of it. Like I'm going on a road trip today, but I'm driving to the airport and hopping on a plane. We are going on a multi-day driving road trip.
Oh, cool.
It's
Yeah,
epic. It's an epic road trip.
It's an
Epic
epic.
That's a great
adventure.
word. I like
Epic
that.
adventure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're like super excited because we're headed to ISTE and the ISTE Live conference, which is, if folks aren't aware of what ISTE is the International Society. You can definitely go, Mary, come along in with us. But if folks aren't familiar with ISTE is the International Society for Technology Education. And it is an organization that that fosters and facilitates not just the use of educational technology, but the idea of that technology is a part of every student's life, and that there are certain they have developed a set of standards for teachers and educators around how technology should be an integral, infused part of the of students' learning, of learners' experiences, right? Yep, and it's published. They're the publisher of our book, but it is a quote unquote gen ed conference, right? There's not even a assistive technology track. It is just educators going. And we are so excited to be there live.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to, I'm going to use this word and I don't know if it's the right word, but I like the sound of it, infiltrate and spread the word. I think it's always been that way. I've always approached ISTE that way whenever I've gone. If you've never been, it is huge. It is a huge conference. And so you get these little opportunities to kind of shift someone's thinking a little bit. And I think that's really great. I like that about it. I think it's fun.
Yeah, actually, didn't we say we want to be a force?
A force.
A force.
So many
Epic
great
force,
words.
I think, Karen, epic force.
An epic
Epic
force.
We want to be an epic force because we recognize, we actually, like, I love your word infiltrate, Mike, because, we do want to be a force helping people adopt an inclusive mindset and understand even the rationale. Why should we? And, we are hoping that this road trip and everything else that we have associated with it will get people really excited about learning more about inclusive learning, inclusive design, and how we can ensure that we're not leaving anyone out. We never want to exclude anyone in the learning process.
I'm guessing no one else is going. I don't see anybody else responding to Chris in the chat. So as no one else is going to the ISTE conference. Have you gone in the past to an ISTE conference?
Oh, Jennifer might be going for last minute for a day or two. Cool.
Jim, we might see you there.
I hope so. I am trying to sneak to New Orleans for a day or two. Yes.
I'm excited. I do know some folks in my school district, my former school district, that are going. So yeah, always money issues. We know traveling to conferences is not inexpensive at all. But the really cool thing is that with what we're doing in part at ISTE, there's a whole not at ISTE component.
Yeah. And I also think, and Karen put the not an ISTE hashtag in there. I put the official hashtag in, which is ISTE Live. I think this is one of those few conferences that I think if you followed the hashtag, you would gain a boatload of information about the sessions that are happening. I think this is a very connected group of conference participants. And so I think that you could put that column up in your tweet deck or just go onto Twitter and just let that roll all day. And I think you would get quite a bit. Alyssa's putting it up. Yeah. I do the same thing, Alyssa. I put it every day. I go and I check that because I think I miss it as the day goes on. But at the end of the day, I'll scroll through that column on my tweet deck. Tons of stuff.
I need to go and do that right now. I'm like, as we speak, I'm like, oh, I need to add that to my, why didn't I add that yet to my tweet deck?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's almost more at the not at ISTE hashtag than there is at the ISTE hashtag, just to make it extra confusing. But I do put both of them up in separate columns in TweetDeck, and then try to go back at the end of the day and like scroll through and see what was shared.
Yeah, what I found, Alyssa, which is interesting, I agree with you. I think that not at ISTE hashtag gets a lot of play, and I find that not at ISTE hashtag is more conversational because people are not there. So they're responding to each other, and it kind of has a little bit of a threaded feel to it of conversation, where the ISTE hashtag, the official one, is a lot of statements like, I just did this, or check out this, or look at this. Whereas the not at ISTE feels like it has a little chance to breathe almost.
And I have a question for those of you in the audience today. Since many of you, it looks like most people won't be able to make it to ISTE, how do you think we can approach this? What ideas do you have for how we can infiltrate and be a force at ISTE around inclusion, around inclusive mindset, inclusive learning? What kind of ideas do you use, and what kind of ideas would you share with us?
Somebody said virtually.
Yeah. Infiltrate virtually. Yeah.
Yeah, and Lori just put in, she's going to be looking into the virtual. So there is a virtual component, right? Like you can definitely sign up.
Well, let me just clarify that for a second. So I heard Alyssa say Alyssa, you're going to have two columns, right? The ISTE hashtag and then the not at ISTE hashtag. Well, if we're there in person infiltrating, the way that looks, what does that infiltrate looks to me is we're having a conversation and then we could bring around inclusion, or how could you use that for more inclusive purposes? And I could see that same, we can do that verbally in person, but that same thing could happen on the hashtag, right? If you're infiltrating virtually is like, oh, someone posted this thing, let me comment on that and suggest this resource like the CAST website or whatever the resource is that you can spin to introduce it. That could be a way that we could sort of take over the or influence other people. Let's put it that way.
Look at
Yeah,
Chris
let's
walked it
be-
back real fast. He's like, I'm not going to take over. I'm going
Take
to calm
over.
down just a little bit.
Sounded a little violent there for a
I
second.
liked it. It sounded a bit. And I liked where we were going with this. I'll convert him on when we're in the car. Don't worry.
I
Yeah,
know. I
we
was like
wanted-
arranging my tweet deck and I'm like, I to be able to see it all, I'm like, all right, I had to move AT chat over a few rows. I mean,
Alyssa, I'm going to suggest the third column as well, which is can you see the hashtag here? Is that the hashtag?
Inclusive road to ISTE. I think
Yeah,
that's what that says.
there was just
Maybe
some
I do
other
a third
way
one. If only.
Oh, there it is. Mike put it in the chat. Yeah, if you follow that, you make a third column with that, you'll be able to participate in the whole road trip, which I think we're going to be using that right up through ISTE, so that's another way to kind of stay involved together as a group and share in the adventure.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, and we're excited about it about that hashtag because of what we're going to be doing on this road trip, right? It's not going to just be like, us hanging out and chit chatting about, what are you doing on your vacation? And oh, my kids are doing this and that. We are going to really make this an opportunity to see how we can find funky out of the way spots and create exciting, inclusive learning experiences out of them. I don't know.
For instance, Beth,
So
you have
for
an
instance,
example?
well, one of the first places, well, I don't know that it's the first place that we're going to make our big stop, but one of the places that we're going to head to as we cross from Virginia into Tennessee, it's right on the border, is the Bristol Motor Speedway. So I don't know if people know this, but there's Bristol, Virginia and Bristol, Tennessee. And so the town crosses 2 states. And so Bristol Motor Speedway is there, which I drive through that way all the time going to visit my daughters when they were in college, and now my daughter that lives in Alabama. And I never have we're always like, oh, we got to get there. We got to get there. We got to get there. So I was so excited that part of this road trip was like, we're going to stop. We're going to stop. We're going to stop. And we're see, what might be happening there. But I figured, like cars, track, motor speedway, like math, right? That was like, I'm like, all right, there's got to be some cool math activities that we can do. So we're gonna maybe calculate, at what speed, how many times, it would take us to get around the track so many times, or, maybe like we'll look at some records or something like that along the way.
They also have NASCAR like RV parks.
Yeah, they've got also things down there. Yep. Yeah. I drive by it, but I've never actually been there before. They have a whole it's a big stadium and everything. So it should be pretty cool. So we're gonna see how we can apply some cool tools, some math tools like Equatio. We'll look at some other.
Look what I tried to do. I tried to type in, I just did a copy paste for the formula for velocity, and look how horrible that was. If there was only some sort of tool we could use to actually make it more accessible than that nonsense, right?
I don't know. Dina, do you know of any tools that would help us with that? We've got Dina from Text Help lurking over here.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I think I can put a link into the chat here. And it's free for teachers, Equatio is, so if anybody wants to check it out.
please put it in there to push Chris's up above so I don't see it anymore. It's making my eyes hurt. It's hurting me. There we go. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're gonna look and see how we can use different tools. We might end up, we might end up some places where we're gonna, what's Mike, can you think off the top of your head, what are some of the other spots we're gonna head to?
Well, we're gonna try, we're gonna try to stop at, what is that? Natural Bridge? Wait a
We
second.
were hoping to stop at the Natural Bridge in
Natural
South-
Bridge State Park.
It's a matter of whether we can sneak it, what time at night it will be, and whether there'll be, sometimes they have, I have to double check. Sometimes they have nighttime events there. I'm kind of hoping there might be some pretty cool, oh God, yes, the Unclaimed Baggage Center in Alabama. That was Mike's gem that he found.
Did
So I
you
think-
know, Carolyn, thank you for being that excited. Did you know that there is an unclaimed baggage center right off the highway? And when I say right off, anything within an hour off the highway in this moment is considered right off the highway.
Oh, wow.
And it is the largest center in the country for unclaimed baggage. Everything goes there and then they resell it to the community. And you better believe we're going there. And we'll
Yeah.
find some road trippy way to wrap this all into an inclusive mindset. But I don't know. I'm bringing some money and I'm going to buy some nonsense while I'm there.
%, right? Could you just picture open up a bag and then we figure out how to use the stuff in the bag for some sort of inclusive educational purpose? That sounds so fun.
Come
What
on,
a
it's
challenge
perfect.
right up our alley.
It's perfect. I love it. We have that. There is the Abita Mystery House. Fantastic. Near New Orleans. I don't know what's there, but the website sure looks crazy. So I'm in. It's perfect.
So Jen, you've been to Mardi Gras World. Tell us more about that, because I've never even been to New Orleans. This is all brand new.
And
Become fit for video. Oh, Mardi Gras Royals. I'm jealous. It's fantastic. I can't wait to go back. You get to see all the wild floats being created in different stages of creation. It's just beautiful. It's an incredible art. It should be a lot of fun. And that's right near where
Yeah.
the
that'll
convention center is, I
Yeah.
that'll
think.
be our like last stop
Yeah,
before
it's like
we,
the last stop.
yeah. So wait,
It'll be a treat.
Shannon put in beer, take the ferry.
I don't
need-
know. Is that like the best
I need
chat message
clarification
ever?
on
It just
that,
says
Shannon.
beer. That's all it says. Shannon, we're going to swing into Texas and pick you up, I think.
Oh, Abita is the beer.
That's a beer.
Oh,
I had no idea.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Is it related to the mystery house?
It's a brew pub.
Even
Sounds like a
better.
stop on the trip. Problem solved.
Somebody will have to be the designated driver though.
Yeah.
This is all going to be
Me
fantastic.
probably, I'm not a beer drinker, so I can be the designated driver.
That's probably
for
that
that.
just worked
But we're
itself
gonna
out.
be right. I'm the designated driver for I can be the designated driver for a brew pub because I'm not a big beer drinker.
I think
However,
ultimately it's
I
going to
will
be kind
have
of
some of the
fun.
New Orleans drinks that they
It's
also
gonna
have a
be fun to
trolley.
just be in the car and just we can have these these random conversations about inclusive learning, and people want to send messages to us through the hashtag. We can chat about that. We're going to do some videos. We're going to have some live events as we move forward through this, from the car, from the road, from the unclaimed luggage center. I'm already thinking about how I strap my phone to the front of my shirt as I run through this place with my $20 to try to figure out what to buy. There's a lot going on in my head.
And I am totally going to create, I am totally going to be taking pictures of this and putting this in, like, not just on social media, but I'm going to have to create some sort of a multimedia, I don't know, we'll do some flip grids. We'll make sure we've got some things that we can, I'm going to take some pictures and then I'm going to use Orbit Note to edit, to annotate all over that picture with
Nice.
information in there
I
and
love
then
it.
post that on social media.
One of the things I am very excited to unleash on my three friends in the car is my additions to our Spotify playlist. And I am
I just put
really
the link
looking
to the
forward to,
Spotify playlist in there.
the only word I could think of is unleash. And so there in the chat is our Spotify playlist, which you can add a song to also. which
Or
is-
more. We hope that you will. Check out our Spotify playlist and add whatever you think we need to listen to, because we'll be in the car for a very long time.
Yes.
And it's quite an eclectic collection right now. We're
It is
looking
a
for more ideas.
fantastic list. It's
It's an
fantastic.
epic, eclectic collection.
Yes.
Now, I
It's
feel
going
like
to
I'm gonna
infiltrate your brain.
I'm gonna have to pull back to my like early 80s like punk phase and add some things in there. I'm going in and adding some Ramones. I'm gonna have to put like maybe some Dead Kennedys in there or
Add it
something. I
in.
mean, I don't know.
And I would say to anyone here, if you have a song right now in your head that you like to listen to in the car, put it in the chat and we'll make sure we add them in.
Especially
wanna
one
go
that
right
you
to the-
blast in the radio when you're driving by yourself. Add those classic songs that we'll love to listen to too.
Yes. And Carolyn, yes, it's an excellent question. Carolyn has really good questions. If you weren't so far away, I'd come pick you up for this too. Will we listen to all the songs without skipping? I think that is part of the principle of it, is to not skip, just let it ride. I feel maybe a shuffle, or just to start right from, I feel maybe a shuffle and just let every song play.
Yeah. And we're going to do shout outs. If you've got a song and your name is attached to it, we will do a shout out to you and thank you for the contribution. So please add as many as you can, and any ideas.
I know Natalie put on Life is a Highway by Tom Cochran. I actually have I have on there the oh, why am I blanking? The country music version of Life is High, but I'll add that's the original. So I'll definitely have to put
Add it
that
in.
on
Thanks,
there.
Natalie. We'll put it in.
Rascal Flats. Thank you, Carolyn. I was having like a brain fart.
Carolyn's
but,
locked into this, man. I like it. I like it. Tiffany has a really good question. Will there be costumes? I think a costume is a really good question. I did purchase a brand new t-shirt for the road that I have not worn yet. And I'd like to consider it epic. And I will only say it is somewhat patriotic. It is patriotic. There's an eagle on it, but there's also a mullet. And it is a fantastic shirt that I'm really pretty pumped to wear. And it's killing me not to wear it until then, but there you go.
Yeah, no spoilers. I want to be surprised. I want to see it in full.
I am going to walk down to
shocking.
the car one morning with that shirt on, and you were going to take it in all its majesty.
The
So
question
what
is, will you have
costumes would
Zumbas?
you suggest? If you were driving with us, what costumes would you wear? We are actually going to have some text helpers in the car with us. You know, those little logos that you see from Text Help. We do have a couple that are coming on the trip with, oh, there's one,
Wait, I'll
right?
turn off my background so you can see
I know. I'm gonna have to
the text helper.
I'm gonna have to think of some good costumes for
Here's
this.
the
So
text-
Tiffany, you're gonna
here's
need
the
you're gonna
text
need to give us
helper.
some suggestions.
Oh, I see.
So we have a lot of photo ops with the Text Helper. You'll have to see where he ends up with us.
So we
I
should
mean, we're
mention thank you
definitely-
to
gonna
Text
have
Help for sponsoring us.
Yeah.
Yes, for
So
sure.
we're.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris. Give a little.
Just
Yeah.
that this would not be possible without Text Help support. So thank you, Text Help, for sponsoring the entire road trip. In fact, which is starting with Karen, right? You're starting from Text Help headquarters, aren't you?
I am, yeah, starting at Text Help headquarters right in Woburn, Mass. They're gonna have a big send-off. They're gonna, I think there'll be some surprises, like some, just a magnet announcing it. I don't even know, Dina. What else do you have planned? So much fun stuff planned. Can't wait to see what it all looks like.
Yes, we've got a lot of exciting stuff for your send off. We're enticing everybody with free food, so that's the start, and then it'll
Solid
just
plan.
keep on getting better from there. Yeah.
I love it.
So we could even announce it locally and see if anybody can join from Woburn, from Text Help headquarters.
Yeah. It'll
Yeah,
be a
for sure.
fun event. I think we might be getting some poppers to send you on your way. So
Very
cool.
dramatic, Karen, as you drive through and stuff just flies over your car. That's very dramatic. I like that.
I like Tiffany's idea of some costumes that align with our playlist. I'm gonna have to take a close look at some of that. But I have a ton of Mardi Gras beads because I was down in the Mobile, Alabama area for Mardi Gras, which is really big there too. So I think I'm gonna have to pack my Mardi Gras beads for the trip and at least wear those as some of my costuming.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I
gonna
love
read-
that idea too. I mean, absolutely, Natalie, that's what we're thinking is, it's like Flat Stanley, text helper. What can we call them? Text
I
helper.
love that they're
That's-
called text helpers. I think that is the
Yeah.
greatest. I think it's the greatest name for a little logo character ever. I think it's so great. I love it.
Okay, so then you're leaving the Boston area, coming down and picking up Mike, then in New Jersey, and then from New Jersey to Maryland to pick up Beth, to me and down in Virginia. Then we head the rest of the way. We do all this craziness and fun, exciting, epic, seriously fun road tripping. We get to ISTE. What's happening at ISTE?
We have so many different things set up at ISTE, so many great activities. Again, we want to be that influential force that makes a difference at ISTE. So on Sunday, the Cards Against Exclusivity will be played. It's one of our first events. And so Chris, tell us more about Cards Against Exclusivity.
Yeah, so it's a experience that I put together for ATIA. I guess was I did a little bit in my neck of the woods, but the first launch of it was at ATI this year. And if you ever played Cards Against Humanity or Apples to Apples, it's a spin on that, where I've created over 300 cards with different tools, strategies, other stuff on these cards. You as a team get together, you get 5 cards ish, and then displayed behind is a scenario, and you as a team look at your cards and go, well, which one would best match that scenario? It's like feature matching. Then you pick one of your card that you think works the best and you pass it up, and then 3 celebrity judges, in this case Mike, Beth, and Karen, will look at those cards and choose which one they think matches the best. If yours matches the best, you win that card. The people who have the most winning cards at the end of time win a fabulous prize. And that's how Cards Against Exclusivity works. But when at ATIA, it was a super fun experience. Beth was one of the guest judges at that one as well, where people got to really talk about the different things, really discuss them, which would be best, how do they work, what are they? Let's Google them. I don't know what this is. Oh, I'll tell, I know what this is. And you're able to explore the cards. It was a fun way to have fun. Oh, Tiffany was there, right? Tiffany, what did you think?
Was a great time.
So we're going to try
learning.
we're going to try and bring that to that ed tech experience and get more people talking about inclusion that way. And that's happening around the bookstore on Sunday. And then what else happens after that?
So all week we will be doing some coffee EDUs at the text help booth. So I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head the timing of that, but I know most of the people that are on here are not necessarily going to be at the conference. So please know that we're going to put snippets of this online, on social media, the entire trip. So you might not be there for the full thing, but we'll definitely, and we're going to have to think about how can we add a virtual component to the Cards Against Exclusivity session, Chris, for folks that want to play a little bit online. We'll have a few hours on the road trip to think of a great way for people to be able to participate with that online. We'll have, maybe we can have a virtual team that we'll have to see. So for anybody that thinks that they might want to be part of a virtual Cards Exclusivity team, help us put our thinking caps on and make that work.
Like that.
And then
Mary has an idea. Mary has an idea.
Go ahead,
Oh
Mary.
no, I maybe I would like to be a part of that virtual.
Awesome.
I'm in Montana, so
That makes you virtual, Mary. That's it. You're in.
And
Because we
I'm
can't
just gonna
swing to pick you up.
right.
We just can't.
I got a full basement. I'm right by Glacier.
Sounds
What
like a
else,
beautiful
Karen? You were just about to tell us the rest. What else?
Well, yeah, besides the coffee EDU at Text Help, we'll also be stopping by for other events there, but we also plan to stop in at the book creator booth and some of the other booths on Tuesday afternoon. we will be a force at the Inclusive Playground. That's something that they have every year at ISTE, and we are a force around that particular event. And then after the Inclusive Playground, actually, we should put the link into that because I think, I
I was
think that
just
that's
looking
something.
for it.
They
Maggie.
have they have an inclusive playground in Palo Alto too.
Yeah. So
It's
yeah,
called a Magic Bridge Playground or something.
Oh, and I think this is a little different idea. So the inclusive play, that's cool that I know inclusive playgrounds have become really
Oh, okay.
commonplace. This is actually, they call it an inclusive playground, but it's actually, it's a space where they're going to have for like 2 hours, a whole bunch of different people, including some of our, like our friends like Cassie Frost and Sean Arnold, some other folks, Kim Say, am I saying your name right? Sajak?
Zajac, yeah. And it's actually called inclusive, I made a mistake, Inclusive Learning Playground, and Jen Edge Savage, who is part of this, has been one of the, she's been one of the organizers in the past as well. So Jen, you won't be there well, maybe you'll come out that
Now
day
she
and be
will,
part of the
maybe.
Inclusive Learning Playground. And then after that event is our group session that we will be doing. And that's at 5:30 on Tuesday evening. And what else are we missing? Oh, book signing. We're going to do some book signings. We're going to do some book giveaways. It's really an awesome time.
And we're gonna have one thing that we're gonna have some more details about this next week, Wednesday. I can't even remember what day. Starting this Wednesday at the at AT Chat. But wishful thinking. But we are going to be having the very first ever W.I.S.H scavenger hunt, Wonderfully Inclusive Scavenger Hunt, which will be taking place both at ISTE and not at ISTE. And it'll start off with things as we're going along on the road trip. It will continue through the conference and wrap up at our session. But there will be opportunities for anybody to engage in the scavenger hunt, play, and win prizes, whether you are at ISTE or not, and win prizes whether you can fully commit or whether you're just gonna I'll do a couple of these things on the scavenger hunt. So we're gonna have more details about that. Mike, you've got our schedule better for that, but we'll have a lot more details about that.
Like that is, I want to say next week.
Yeah.
No, I think it starts Wednesday. doesn't it?
Oh, Wednesday. No, sorry,
We
Wednesday.
start Wednesday. The kickoff is during AT Chat. We have a
Yes.
Zoom AT Chat scheduled for Wednesday night. And that's when we will officially release the W.I.S.H, the Wonderfully Inclusive Scavenger Hunt, and anyone can participate. We want to be incredibly inclusive. So whether at ISTE or not at ISTE, you can participate in the W.I.S.H. with prizes. We've got some great prizes planned, and we, again, we're trying to be as inventive and creative as possible in spreading the word about inclusive learning. And we're hoping that some of the gen educators, or just the regular term educators, that they will grab onto the idea and start to discover some new inclusive tools that they never knew about.
I mean, we can't share any now because it's really on Wednesday, but total non sequitur. I wanted to show, if you can see, this is a stylus that my daughter made during the emergency distance learning. Some kids didn't have styluses and they couldn't use their touch screens. And so my daughter made this, look, Alyssa Warren, this is a homemade stylus that someone could use. They can make it thicker, but you can make your own stylus. Total non sequitur, has nothing to do with the scavenger hunt. It's not necessarily one of the items on the scavenger hunt. Just I was just showing it because it was right here next to
It's
me.
very cool. I'm so glad that you shared it with me, just in case it's knowledge that would be helpful in the future.
Exactly. For
I
anyone
could
who might need
see,
it 2 days from now or
That's right.
2 years from now,
Exactly.
making your own scavenger hunt item or making your own stylus could be one of those things that is useful.
Not tied to
Exactly.
anything. Just like a, hey, isn't this kind of cool? I like that. That's great. Not tied to anything, Alyssa.
I'm not
All right.
tying it to anything. I'll
right.
probably forget and remember in about 2 days.
Fantastic. All right, good. I just wrote myself a really important road note that I feel like some of the prizes for the scavenger hunt should be purchased during the stops on the road trip. Because I think people want to win nonsense from the road. And I'm looking around just to see people not in there. Carolyn, I'm just going to flat out buy you something and just send it to you because I like your attitude. Getting you something completely nonsensical and sending it to you. But yeah, I think this is part of my master plan. All right. I'm happy about that.
Does
Oh, yes,
anyone-
we should totally get something from the Unpaid Baggage Center.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions about the scavenger hunt, how it might work?
Or have any ideas about what absolutely has to be included in a
It's not too
wonderfully
late.
inclusive scavenger hunt?
We could add something.
That's a great
iPhone
idea.
holder, iPad, iPhone holder.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got, like, where do I have it over here? I have one of my favorites, right? So this is one that I made at a,
Oh, I was gonna show you that. Yeah, that,
so I keep it on
I
my
have
desk
that
all
too.
the time to have it, to be able to put my,
Yeah, Teresa Wilcom.
yep, a Trace
Yeah.
welcome. Yep. So we could
That's
definitely,
one of my projects with the school district.
yeah, and there's so many different ways that you can, come up with things like that.
Is
And
your,
the whole, how about an ed tech tool that can be used as inclusive tech? Yes, definitely. There's going to be, definitely. And Chris is writing some of these.
that's the whole idea, right? Is that there's going to be people who know about ed tech participating in this.
Right.
So we want them to be thinking about inclusion. So in that vein, is there something that you can think of like, man, I wish every ed tech person knew this, or I wish every general ed teacher knew this? We want to make sure that's in part of the scavenger hunt, and we could easily have missed something. So your ideas are welcome here.
Yeah, of course.
Well, the OWAM, I like that idea.
Check
Tell us
out the
more, Mary.
online assessment of writing methods and try it with somebody new.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
it's easier than ever to complete. Tiffany, have you been checking it out? It's yeah, that's not something we have on the list.
I have, Karen, and I've been sharing it. So hopefully it's making some movement.
Yeah, yeah.
And the whole idea around this inclusive, the whole idea around the inclusive, the wonderfully inclusive scavenger hunt is that we're gonna, we want lots of people to participate, but we also want people to like walk away with the idea that this is something that you can do as active professional learning in your own community, right? Like it can be something that you could do in your school, in your school district, in
Yeah.
the place that you work. Lori, I know you're not in schools, right? You're in adult services, but what a great way to have an activity for the adult supports that are in those, working with those adult individuals, like to help them be thinking about the ways that they can easily find resources and share them and think creatively. So we're going to do it because it's fun and because we know that games make learning more fun, and that there's actually evidence that shows that playing and learning through games is more fun. I posted a link a little higher up in the a chat to an article that somebody just recently sent to me about the power of games in learning. Chris and I did an article a couple of years ago for Closing the Gap also, but the one that's there is like a meta-analysis of literature on that. So it's got a little maybe more weight even to it. So yeah, so we're super excited about the road trip and now is anybody here like actually like on the route from Virginia to New Orleans? Like if you going through, because we may have some time, we may be able to like meet up with someone on the road too.
oh my
So I don't
God,
know where
that's
folks
the
are.
greatest thing ever.
We could get Lauren Bonet to come out and maybe meet up with us in Northern Virginia.
Yeah, where the heck does Lauren live? Yeah, let's
Yeah,
just
she's
show
in
up at
Arling-
Lauren's house.
She's in
That's great.
Arlington, right? You're in Arlington.
And if she
Yeah.
doesn't come on camera, she's basically saying, yes, please show up at my house. That's what she's doing right
The
Basically.
rental car we're picking up, I think, is right next to Lauren's house. So
now. Great.
Yeah, so we could like definitely, you know, have a pop on with Lauren. She may have, I was gonna say, she may have walked away because she's not responding to us right now.
Not responding because she wants
Anybody
to be part
else
of
in
it.
that neck of the woods? Unfortunately, I mean, I know we've got some friends in the Midwest, like Tiffany and Kelly, but we're not going to be headed in that direction at all. Although Tiffany's not for long in the Midwest, not for long.
2 weeks.
Oh, that's okay, Lauren. No issues. Don't
okay.
text and drive either. We don't.
Yeah.
We'll be in touch. Maybe we'll make a little house call to you know, to say hi to Lauren.
Perfect. And if you can think of something, these are other things we could throw out to the group. If you can think of like topics you'd like us to chat about throughout and record, or when we stop and get out of the car or things like that, please feel free. We'd love to be responsive to questions or thoughts from people about how to impact learning and make it more inclusive. So definitely I'll throw that out to everybody too.
I have an
W.I.S.H.
idea for your scavenger hunt. If you
Please.
have not already done this or considered it, one of the things I always try to tell people to do that they can do immediately is just change the default settings for their font and size, text size for their whole operating system. And because so, you know, the default is like Times New Roman 11, which is really
Right.
small, or 10 even. And I don't particularly care for that font, but you know, just having clean lines, bigger font, change it. Then if you just change it in your system, you don't have to do it ever again. So it's an idea.
Yeah.
Love it.
Natalie will give you credit for that too. I just wrote it down. That's awesome.
And then also if you've had any podcast recommendations, because again, we're in the car a long time. Besides Talking with Tech, if you've got some other great podcasts that you're always learning from, please share them with us.
And share whatever you'd like, because this is about as loose as a trip gets. And I do like that component of it. If I could give you a little sneak behind the peak of the curtain here, we've had a big debate between the four of us of whether to schedule to plan somewhere to stop for the night or just let it ride and figure it out. I'm a planner, so I wanted to no, I wasn't a planner at all. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if we can't find a place, we'll sleep in the car. I don't know. It all works out. See, Beth and I are going to get along really well on this trip. I think this is going to go well for the two of us.
I don't need to, I'm all about like, look, there's a hotel over there. Let's pull over. We're exhausted, but I am not sleeping in the car. I have done that. I mean, I'll snooze in the car, but I'm not spending the night in the car. Just saying.
Part of the fun. Lay along the side of the road. I have a text helper pillow I'm willing to give you for your head.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Well, that makes it all better.
Chris pointed out in the chat that we just recorded a podcast for Text Help Talks, which was awesome. I'll put that link in the chat. I have it open.
So I think we talked about how Wish starts at AT Chat this Wednesday, right? That's when we'll have the whole list of all of the items and point values that go with each item and a way to collect all that information. How does it end, Karen? What's the end result?
So the big reveal is Wednesday during AT Chat. So you want to be part of that. We want to share it, blast out the link everywhere. And then it ends. We have some events that are also happening. Some of the items are at the Inclusive Learning Playground. But again, we have so many options that even if you're not at ISTE, you'll be able to participate. And it ends during our session. We will, during our session, which is Tuesday evening from 5:30 to 6:30, that's when it officially ends. And we will draw some names just who participated at that time. But we will need some time to review and see who has the point totals that are the highest. And did we officially come up with a time when we will announce those winners? Because that's going to take us some time to do.
Yeah, if hopefully maybe we'll be able to do it. Maybe we'll be able to do it at the Text Help booth on Wednesday morning or something like that. That would be, we hadn't talked about it, but Dina, maybe that's something we could announce, and people don't have to be present to win, obviously, but it would be kind of cool for anybody that was present at the conference and was able to be there. So we'll see if we can figure that out. We'll award a couple of like quickie ones in our session. Like where anybody that's participated, and we'll go in there and be able to do that.
And Mary, I see you dropping some ideas in the chat.
Yeah.
How exactly are you thinking that they could be scavenger hunt items? Like the
Mm.
junk drawer robotics 4-H program, how are you thinking that that could be a scavenger hunt item?
One is like, you call it catapult, a catapult, but you're studying, it's kind of science stuff, catapult. One is setting up a ramp and going with the car.
So maybe people that like to put in, how would you, like, maybe one of the items could be around, give an idea for a junk drawer robotics.
Yeah, or you can even just use structured function, which is toothpicks and jujubes or marshmallows together.
Always my favorite,
Yeah.
build a couple, eat a couple.
Right.
Makes sense.
And then you can also do like, okay, take an animal paw and then, okay, what does that animal, how does that animal use that paw to survive? Okay, so, and then you start it in Book Creator or whatever. But it's a philosophy, you probably heard of it, 1D to 3D science,
Yes.
where you start with notebooks in kindergarten. And every single year you have a notebook. That can you imagine the lab notebooks by the time they're a senior?
Great.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
actually really cool. Like I'm trying,
love
like,
it.
if
I
we
love it.
only actually did great portfolio. I mean, I'd love to hear of some school districts that actually did that kind of rich portfolios of students from early on. Thanks, Natalie.
It's awesome.
Any final thoughts here, anyone? Follow along at the hashtag
Yes, follow along.
Inclusive Road to ISTE, not at ISTE, and the ISTE hashtag. What's the ISTE hashtag? It's ISTE 20
ISTE
Live.
Live. ISTE Live.
ISTE
And
Live.
I just put the link into TweetDeck because that I am not always great about remembering to use TweetDeck, mostly because it's too small on my phone for me to read. But setting up those columns on TweetDeck with the hashtags is, Mike had talked about that earlier. So that's a really great strategy for being able to follow all of those.
It's great. I think what you're going to find is as the conference kicks off, that hashtag will fly. There will be tons of info there. So it almost feels like having a column in something like TweetDeck might be one of the only ways to catch everything. You're never going to catch everything, but at least that will organize it a bit for you, which is great.
Yeah, I definitely.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Well, I guess we'll see you there.
Yes.
Looking forward to everyone participating.
So
listening to
the next
songs.
step is to see your podcast.
Sure,
And then
you
we-
can listen to the
The road
podcast
trip.
Mhm.
and then just follow those hashtags on social media. And Mike, do you have a link? Do you have a link for the Zoom for the AT chat on our Zoom AT chat on Wednesday?
Let me find
Not
it.
yet.
Not yet. So we'll get that posted on social media. So if you're following if you follow the Inclusive Road to ISTE hashtag or the ISTE Live hashtag, we will definitely be posting the link to the AT chat.
Okay.
There you go. Here it comes. It's
spread
coming
the
in the chat right
word.
now.
Spread the word to all of your colleagues who you're trying to just kind of nudge them along this inclusive learning adventure. And this is really a great way for them to start to think more inclusively and start to think with an inclusive mindset.
And Mike
So-
just put the link in, and it takes like all of 10 seconds to sign up, because I just already did, to make sure that it got on my calendar, because I am that person that if it is not on my calendar, it does not
I
happen.
agree. And I will send it out to social media too.
That sounds like an executive functioning skill that you've learned, Beth, over time, using a tool like Google Calendar to add it to your calendar.
It
That sounds like a
absolutely is.
really good thing.
Strategy.
Really good thing.
Yeah, it could
Really
be
good
like it could be
strategy.
like a really good strategy that might, find its way into a scavenger hunt or cards against exclusivity, or, and then even better is it then shows up on my watch and reminds me. So, and I even sometimes have it set up to buzz on my watch and have that haptic reminder. So yeah.
All right, everybody. See you Wednesday.
All right, everybody.
Okay,
See you
bye-bye.
Thank you
Wednesday.
for being here.
all. See
Thank you,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Beth, send me an email.